station with the best music.
Even the other stations are tuned in too.
Baby, let's go!
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Megan in the Morning. Today, I have a few guests joining me to talk about the upcoming football season at Windham High School. My first guest I have with me wears number 20 for Windham and plays on both sides of the ball. Dustin is wrapping up his first year at Windham High and has high hopes for a fall sports season. Dustin, say hi and tell us a little about your roles on the team.
Hey, as you said, I'm Dustin Solensky. I'm a sophomore that goes to Windham High School. I'm a running back and linebacker, but this upcoming year, there's talks about moving me to safety. I've been playing football since I was 6. I wear the number 20 because a best friend of mine died when I was younger, and I wear the number 20 for her.
This morning, I also have Coach Randall Prose here joining us. Coach has been teaching at Windham for 13 years now and is in his 5th year as head football coach. Can you tell us a little bit about your connection to football and how you landed up here in Windham, Connecticut?
I moved to Connecticut like 17 years ago from Southern Ohio, where I taught and coached football down there. I grew up in Southern Ohio. Went to Ohio Wesleyan, did my master. I played Division III football against your father.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Same conference. And I moved to Connecticut. At Windham, I'm the football coach, the track coach. I came on as an assistant when I first started there, running the defense. And there was a legendary coach, Brian Crudden, that was there 38 years. Ironically, he was there at 38. His predecessor, who the field was named after, Ferrigno, he was there about the same amount of time. So I'm only the third head coach in Windham in 75 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So that was big shoes to fill. But so this will be my 5th year coming up as the head coach, and I'm also the track coach. We've had a lot of success in track, couple state finals, 1 state championship, couple runners up. But I really like it. I love the town. I moved to Willimantic as soon as I started working here. I took a tour of the town, and I love the old Victorian homes, here in town, and I bought one and moved to town right away.
So you said you were the track coach as well. What was it like for a lot of your athletes losing their season this year?
It was really it was heartbreaking to some of them. Some of them, like, for example, Enrique, Lopez, he's a senior hurdler that he's going to UConn to run hurdles on a scholarship, so he's done really well, and he was number 1 in the whole state. So that was hard for him to not get to shine his senior year. He worked so hard for. And as a coach, and for the assistant coach too, we were frustrated because we were loaded this year. We're ready to make another run and another state title. So it's sad, but what are you going to do?
Right. So on the football side, are you concerned that COVID-19 is going to impact the high school sports on the fall season as well?
I am. I'm very concerned about it. And my stepson, Travis, he's going to be a senior at Southern, and he's really worried too. We don't know whether they're going to allow us to have football season. It goes back and forth. Some coaches say, yes, we'll be fine, and they're going to let us come back early because we really don't get together with the kids and condition. And football is a sport where you kind of condition all year round to be ready to make that contact. So if they do have it, I think they're going to let us come back 2 or 3 weeks earlier to start conditioning the kids to be ready for the contact sport in the fall. But I have not heard a definitive answer either way.
If you do think it's going to be played, do you have any predictions? I know we're looking into a crystal ball almost here, but do you think there'll be any regulations or restrictions on games or practices or anything like that?
I've heard all kinds of things. I've heard things like the plastic shields on all the helmets, that would keep any spit or things from flying into other players. But as you sit there and rack your brain, it's kind of hard to imagine football where you're not contacting with each other. It's a tough sport. to social distance when you've got 11 men running to the ball every time. So I can't imagine. I don't know. Hopefully when they open up, is it this week or next, things don't spike really high and maybe,
We're talking short term here. Do you think that this might have an impact on the game in long term?
I don't know. I don't think so. Well, I mean, once the scare's over, we'll go back to life the way it is. I do think that they're talking about, I have heard they're talking about testing kids, watching temperatures, any sign of a child being sick, that you pull them out and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, as a coach, when the weather changes in the fall, you kind of get a cold and flu season. And we try to send the sick kids home because one sick kid gets 5 or 6 other kids sick. And the next thing
right, especially in a locker room.
In a locker room where you're so tight. And honestly, I'm good, friends, a lot of my friend base is other head coaches. And every season we have a week or two where 4 or 5 kids are down with the flu. And so that's kind of things that would probably continue to do, just send them home if they're sick, because one sick kid there practicing is not worth getting 5 or 6 other kids sick.
Dustin, I know you're here, you're a sophomore. Do you have any concerns going back in the fall with this virus?
I don't really have a concern. I mean, I'm just a player standpoint. I'm going into my sophomore season. So, yeah, it'd suck really bad if the season was canceled, because football is kind of my main sport. So what I find most joy in, that's how I found that's what makes me happy in life and stuff. So yeah, it'd be sucks if it is canceled, but in the meantime, they do what they have to do to keep the people safe.
Coach, have you been in communication with your athletes during this time? You mentioned that football is almost a year-round thing where you have to train and you have to be conditioning. Right now, we got a social distance. Have you been
Ask
talking
your brother if coach reaches out when they don't do their schoolwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have been. I do. We try to have a meeting every Wednesday, just a Zoom meeting, and there's usually 10 to 15 kids that show up. But we only have 30 returning kids anyway right now. So, but I have reached out to every kid. I have all their home information, and I check their grades to make sure they're doing the online learning. And yeah, I talk to them about working out and things. It's been a challenge to try to coordinate workouts and things, because every kid has a different schedule. Some kids are babysitting, some kids are working. Most of the older kids have had to get jobs to help the families because a lot of their parents are laid off. I know some kids that are working 30, 40 hours a week right now. So, but yeah, I do touch base with them. We don't get to do the weight room. It'll be interesting to see who's self-motivated, because in this day and age, you kind of have to get out there and do it yourself.
Yeah, some people even talking about this time being an opportunity for certain kids, because do you see that as a potential for some kids?
I do. Some kids are working really hard, and they'll get that extra edge that maybe some of their opponents or teammates aren't working so hard.
Dustin, you're on the line, so you just heard what your coach said. You should be working out.
I think Dustin does work hard. He's very self-motivated. It's interesting. It'll be interesting come fall to see who's in shape and who's not.
Right. You don't have your coach sitting there telling you what to do, so it's easy to step back and be a couch potato at this time.
It is. And I can relate. It's interesting. There are years when I was very motivated and others when I wasn't. So I could see even some of your more motivated kids, though, without a coach there to kind of get on them. And then there's a lot of people that are even Travis has lost some motivation to go work out because he doesn't think they're going to have football now. He'll get depressed and say, they're not going to let us play. The colleges, I don't know.
The summer seems to be an important time for many teams. Dustin's kind of talked about it a little bit. He can probably attest to how vital it is to come in as a freshman for these summer workouts. Can you talk a little bit about that time of year and why it's important and how this COVID might stunt that a little bit?
Okay, sure. Summertime is used. There's always passing leagues where uh, kids can they put in their passing game, and it's an extra bonus. You go play a little defense, you learn your defensive coverages, and you learn your passing plays. Now, how critical is that? I don't think it's that critical. I mean, it's great, but what's really critical is the conditioning, the weight room, the agility drills. I mean, you're not allowed to bring out a football as a coach, but you are allowed to have summer workouts, and getting the kids together and lifting all summer prepares their body for the collision sport that football is. You know, it's not just contact sport, and every exercise that makes their neck a little stronger or their back a little stronger prevents concussions, prevents injuries. The more muscles you have around your bones, the less likely you are to break a bone. So to me, as a coach, I want to win every game, but I also want kids to be safe and prepared for football season. And that's what scares me about losing the summer workout, is that physical preparation to go bang into each other for 13 straight weeks. You know? And there's not a player anywhere that doesn't lose muscle mass and weight during the season, because it's very trying sport. So that scares me, is the lack of oversight by me or other coaches to prep kids for the fall.
And Dustin, we were kind of talking about you a little bit. How important was coming in your freshman year last year, the summer for you?
At first, I was really scared. I mean, who wouldn't be? Because in my first year, like in the locker room and stuff, I was kind of like a quiet kid. I kind of did my own thing, because every time I start like a new team or something, I am usually like quiet and then just kind of do my own thing. And until like later in like the teams, like how long I'm with the team, I started to become more vocal and stuff. But with the workouts and stuff, I mean, yeah, you're going to get like your workouts in, you're going to have to lift weights, but it's also good to actually like be there to show initiative. Like, hey, I want to do this. I want to be with the team. And because if you're just like not even going, it's showing you like, hey, this kid obviously is not taking this sport, or in this case, football seriously, because he's just kind of goofing off and doing whatever he wants to do besides actually coming to the gym and working out with his teammates to get better for the upcoming season.
Coach, do you have any advice to some of these kids that might not have the opportunity to come and bond with their teammates?
They need to get off the couch. They do a lot of core, a lot of agilities, and you can look up body weight workouts and get a really good workout. One of the greatest football players ever, Herschel Walker, never saw a weight room. It was all body weight. And that's going to be kind of self-motivated. I'm actually trying to find out, when the whole state opens up and the social distancing, whether there's some sort of workout I could do. I imagine like on the football field with everybody 20 yards apart and me up top with the.
You're just standing out there with the megaphone on top of the bleachers.
I'm trying to be as creative as I can, but I think that might work. We have 35 kids, so let's spread them all over the field.
Everybody gets their own yard line.
Own yard line, and make them wear a mask, so we'll actually do more cardio that way if they have to breathe through the mask.
Perfect.
But I am really thinking about how to be creative and get something done. Windham, the reason I always have spring football, and our kids are tough. I mean, last year it was kind of an anomaly. I've never had such big kids that never played football again. Wyndham football is a bunch of scrappy kids that are going to go out and really smack you. The hard part is getting them all together and finding them, and you being that structure. So spring ball brought us together as a team and kept us together for the summer. So I have a lot of angst right now about getting everyone together again, but I can't. I'm not allowed to even get them together because of the COVID. So I want to find out what the new rules are going to be, and we can start doing something where I can see their faces and pull them together as a team and get them focused.
Do you think that even once those rules and regulations come out, you're still gonna have a tough time doing that because people might be kind of iffy about letting their kid come out?
Yeah, I do. I mean, we talked about that too as teachers. Like, even if they open school in the fall, there's going to be parents that won't want their kid to go. But I don't know. We'll find out, when that happens.
Yeah, just cross that road when it comes, I guess. For sure. On the pro and collegiate level, they've been talking about what will happen if fans aren't allowed to attend. And this is again looking more into that crystal ball. But like for the high school level, I can imagine that having the fans at a game that could be a big motivator for the boys, and for a coach too, that could probably be a big factor, having people in the stands. If for some reason they decide that the games can go on but they don't let people in the stands because of social distancing, how could that affect how the game is played?
Um, Ironically, I coached freshmen to JV for years, and there's no fans there, and the kids play just as hard. I mean, when it comes down to a football game, it's nice to hear the fans cheer and stuff, but I don't think it'll impact the game all that much. I mean, once it starts, it's just you don't hear a whole lot of it anyway. You just hear your teammates and your coaches, and that's about it.
Dustin, how do you feel about it?
I have two different perspectives on it. Like last year, the game we had most of the people at was the biggest game, was the first game of the season, and sadly, because there was a lot of people there, everyone's excited for the season, and sadly, the way it ended for me, I was getting carted off the field. But like he was saying on the JV games, because what would happen was it would usually be on a Saturday morning or at noon. So we would run, so the varsity players would run through their plays and stuff, and then they would start warming up, and usually I would either watch it or wait for my parent to come and pick me up, and I would do that in the meantime. And he has a point, and there's no fans, but those kids still go hard. There's this kid named Xavier Torres. There was this huge hit on a kickoff, and everyone was still up and everything.
Do you think, Dustin, that it's more motivating to have the fans, or do you think that you will be able to go just as hard without anybody there?
I mean, football, yeah, it's nice to have the fans and everything to show support, and also it's kind of momentum swing, home and home field advantage and all that kind of stuff. But football, you kind of got to get yourself up and kind of say, okay, I got to make this next play. The fans, they can't really, they support you, but they can't make you really make you think that in a moment. They're just kind of there to watch. So it's kind of like a mental game of you're getting yourself up and ready for the game.
So, Coach, in the high school season, I'm sure you saw this with track as well, but football in particular, the high school is extremely important to playing at the next level. If the season happened to be canceled altogether, how would this affect kids trying to hope to play in college and the next level?
Well, I have been getting a lot of college recruiters reaching out to me and asking for potential kids' contact information. And it's interesting how they're doing it. They're having kids do virtual combines, to go out and I've taken so many kids to combines. I think in the last 6 years I've had 4 all-staters. So those are the kids that were recruited, and you can do all those exercises with the stopwatch right online, and they're still recruiting, and mostly they're still reaching out. It's just going to be a different way of how to recruit kids, but it will be interesting. You won't have that extra year to earn your stripes or impress scouts, so it's going to be like what you did last year.
So, Dustin, how would you feel if you lost a year?
I feel like it would hurt a lot because Prose actually told me something in class one day. You get recruited your sophomore and junior year, and the stage I'm at, I'm going to my sophomore, so that's obviously sophomore, junior year. So I would lose a year in that regard. And if I'm doing legacy, so people have coaches from different types of positions and stuff started following me and all that. And when he was going on about the combines, I forget who it was, but I've seen him doing that. There was a video of this quarterback coach that followed me, so I looked into it. They were doing these time drills and stuff over a FaceTime call, which I found very interesting because how they're still able to keep going and doing these combines and stuff and seeing how these kids' talents are.
Yeah, it's interesting. Dustin hit it right on the head. Division I athletes get recruited their sophomore and junior year. Seniors can impress a D2 team or here and that.
Exactly.
But usually by the time you're senior, they've already offered, the scholarships to kids. So
That's all pretty much I have on the football aspect for you. But you mentioned that you are a teacher as well at the high school, and you do this exploratory class. What age do you do that with? Do you do that with your upperclassmen or underclassmen?
I teach career explorations to freshmen. They're gonna introduce it's kind of a trend in education. I've been teaching almost 30 years. They're back to kind of career pathways where students still do normal high school, but if you want to focus in like human services, or for you, let's say you want to focus on communications, they try to find some extra classes for you in high school that will help prepare you for college, and maybe even your senior year, some internships or career opportunities to go check it out before you pick your major. So I really like that. I also teach like a senior course where I help them apply to colleges, and a lot of first generation kids that have never been to school, like fill out their financial aid, write their college applications. And that's very rewarding to me because many of our students that live here in Willimantic can get a lot of financial aid. They don't realize like how much assistance there is out there if they have the willingness to go to college and try.
So you say with freshmen, what if you have a kid that has no idea what they want to do?
Well, we have a lot of kids that have no
Most
idea.
of them usually don't. I'm sure
the thing
Dustin's
is,
one of them.
well,
He's got some idea, but
what we do, I have it down to
But I've had ideas, but he crushed them from this class, some of them.
Well, interesting. We do personality profiles. We do values inventories, interest inventories, and we do a lot of career exploration. I've been doing it a long time. It's kind of a way to just like find out who the kid is, what they like doing, what their favorite subjects are, and then actually narrows down it a little bit what types of careers would probably be most rewarding to a student.
I can imagine how helpful that is. Freshman year, I definitely did not think I would be a communications major. Dustin could probably attest to it. He's been in your class now. He's probably looking at careers completely opposite of what he thought he was going to freshman year. Dustin, how's the class been going, being an exploration?
I mean, it's good. I'm learning more stuff. At first, I was like, all right, I'm going to be a real estate agent. I'm like, no, that's lame. But then I started kind of looking like in depth of like what I'm good at and like kind of like my grades. And biology is something like I've been doing good at since like beginning of like 7th grade. Because like this past year, my lowest grade I've had in that class was a 97. Right now I have like 109. So I've been thinking, okay, so in biology, what should I look at? Since it looks like I'm good at that, and how much does it make? What are the requirements I need? What kind of degree do I need? Each project, he kind of helps like a little bit more to finding out like what do you want to be.
Yeah,
and
the thing that kind of stinks is we got cut short, and we do a lot of like wrapping it all together and putting it together, and it's hard. I'm challenged to do it virtually. It's hard to like explain what I want. I'm putting that together this morning. Like I want one final project where you take all the different things we've done and kind of put them together in one presentation of just like something you can keep on Google Docs for yourself, like a working document. It's a challenge to do it from home because it's so new. Everything that we're doing is a new concept to the kids. It's not like many subjects where you scaffold, a math, the next thing. So that's about it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Megan in the Morning. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to hear more stories like this from people in the community. Go Windham!
Woo!
That was banging.